Monday, January 8th, 2024. Welcome to All Horse Racing All the Time. I'm your host, Al. I'm here to bring you some Parx picks for today, specifically for exotic plays. The exactas, for example, these picks are very good for the exactas, and multi-race plays. I believe they can get it done maybe for every multi-race play going forward. It's that kind of card. That's why I'm bringing you these selections today. I wanted to make sure you have them. I see some longer shots that look like they're not only win contenders, but at least in the exotics within the race, they could be part of the exacta if they don't win. Trifectas, they get a little bit dicey. Maybe you want to use them underneath in trifectas in some plays if that's the way you want to go. But they're win contenders and certainly exotic contenders if they don't win here at Parx. And they go off at Parx just after noon, just past 12 p.m. Eastern time today. And Monday, happy Monday, everybody. Let's get that week off to a great start. And that includes hitting the races here at Parx today. So we're going to start with race number 1. Talk about that. I got 3 longer ones in here that have a big shot to win this race. And they go off in the first race at 6-1, 6-1, and 5-1, respectively. And it will keep it very simple here. 2, 3, and 4, they're the inside contenders. They have more going for them than the 2 chalks who are 5 and 6. And good exacta play. For example, number 3 in this race, let me bring him up. Name is Sophos, opens at 6-1. Last 3 races, when you consider ground loss and everything else, this is a maiden claim 7.5. Now, the 2, 3, and 4 are all going up in class, but they all have the goods to win the race, especially the 5-year-old, making his first start as a 6-year-old, Sophos, number 3, very consistent, and he breaks inside. He's finished in his last 4, third, second. Definitely a big win contender in here at the price, and certainly to get into the exacta. So that's Leslie Bouchard with William Vasquez. The one that catches my eye here is number 2, Hidden Promise. Another one moving up in class. The trainer, Rodriguez, he's 13% moving up. But he sneaks in every few races. He sneaks in a race fast enough to blow the doors off these. And last race he won at 1 mile and 70. Today's race is at 1 mile and a 16th. But he's run well at this distance, and well, he runs a little bit less, 1 mile 70. Today's 1 mile and 16th, but he sneaks a big one in there every once in a while. Hidden Promise, and gets Luis Rivera Jr. up, who's 14%. And if this one delivers one of those good ones, a number of them, this one can get it done. And Hidden Promise opens at 6-1, also just like Sophos. And the other one I like here is number 8. Has very consistent, just as fast as the favorites. Now this one drops in class from 15K down to 7.5K. And Louis Linder Jr., when he drops, he's the trainer. He is 21% dropping and nearly win percentage dropping in nearly 700 races, and he has Ruben Silvera up, who he's 19% with, jock trainer. And Silvera is 18% going back nearly 700 races at Parx. So race number 1 of my exotic contenders, especially for the exacta, certainly for the win here. Number 2, 3, and 4. Now in race number 2 here, we're probably going to have a chalk really jump forward in its last race, and that is number 4. Number 4 is Alfie Kid, opens 9-5. Now, he jumped forward last race, but is he a bounce candidate? Because unless he repeats, what are the chances of repeating the last effort for Gonzalez? If he repeats it, he's going to be real hard to beat. But we have some others in here that if he doesn't repeat it, have races that are fast enough to not only get in the exotics, but also to upend the big chalk Alfie Kid number 4. And we're going to get started here with this. Numbers 5 and 6 look very interesting. Let me bring them up. Now, this is a 1 1/8 at 7.5K claiming race. Number 6, Takia Made Me Do It. All one word. Takia made me do it. It was running races fast enough to beat number 5, beat the 4 earlier in the year, even if the 4 repeats its last race. Now it's a 5-year-old making its first start as a 6-year-old, and it is dropping in class, coming down from the 12.5K level down to the 7.5K level, and was running fast enough to win. It wasn't really winning, but it was putting up races quick enough to get it done today. I mean, wait till you hear the price. Then it had 5 months off, came back on a sloppy track, and threw a real clunker at the 12.5 level. Probably one of the worst races of its career. I had a few of them mixed in. It's bounced back from a bad race like this in the past. Last year, for example, following a race at Monmouth, and came back at Parx and ran great, fast enough to win today. So it has the time off, and now it did run a real poor race. I think you want to be careful with this one because it ran a bad one second in a row. It's coming back, really. It only ran on the second. Now, Alan Bedard, the trainer, he is dropping in a class, and when he brings it back in under 11 days, he does win at an 11% clip, covering 133 races. Watch this one. Keep an eye on this one. Is this horse shot? Tequila Made Me Do It. It had been running competitive as a 4 or 5, and then the last 2 races have been clunkers. But if it goes back, number 6, Tequila Made Me Do It, opens at 12-1. And the other one I want to talk about is number 5, Florianopolis, number 5. This is one, he's almost a mirror image as the 6. He was running very quick races. Between September and early October, and the last 2 were clunkers. And Robert Moscow, he's another one. He's bringing the horse back under 11 days, but it has the races that can win. And he's another one. He's 16% when he brings the horse back under 11 days. And this one ran on the second as well. And it has the back races in number 5. Number 5 opens at 12-1 as well. So you got 2 big price horses. If they resort to form, and we see these cheap claimers all the time go up and down, they're inconsistent. They have the goods. They're fast enough to win, and both of them are dropping from the 12.5K level. So keep an eye on them. Number 4 does it. If it runs, it's consistent. It seems to be moving forward. It's taken to the dirt. Its last 3, it has 2 wins and it has two seconds and a 4th place finish. And the other one, this one I'll go 4 deep if you're playing those exotics and you're a spread player. This one, number 1, Bo in the back. It didn't run that well his last race. For Scott Lake, high 14% trainer here with Joseph Trejos, who's an 11% jock. He has races 2, 3 back that are fast to upend the 4 if the 4 doesn't repeat its last effort. And this one, number 1, resorts back to his usual running style after finishing 4th, 10 back. It says he was outrun early, but he does have the races 2, 3 back to get it won. This isn't one of the goal-driven races, but you do have a couple of long ones that have a history of running races fast enough to beat the chalk, dropping big. So in race number 2, the ones I come up with for this to get it done, or hitting the exotics exacta maybe at a price. Maybe you want to go a 1-2 or 1-4 over 1-4-5-6 and get the one home. And one of these others resort to form, and at least you got the favorites. Be careful, though, if you leave 5 and 6 out in the multis and you resort to form. 1-4-5-6 are my exotic contenders in race number 2. Race number 3 is a 1.70 claimer for fillies and mares. And number 3 does have the pace edge here. Jetstream stretching out for Preciado, gets Adorno up riding. That has the early speed, and it looks solid by the numbers. Opens at 9-5. Should get a nice jump on these. Is it automatic here? Well, it's going to be tough to beat. But what I like about this race, the 5 is the second choice at 5-2. And I see it looks very vulnerable for a weak trainer. And even by the numbers, it's no guarantee to do anything. I thought number 6, Snow Lake, looked somewhat interesting. The number 6 opening at 5-1. And we'll talk a little bit about Snow Lake. Lewis Linder Jr. And Lewis Linder Jr. is a bit of a question mark because he has a weak jock up here. Let me just look at this. Now, number 6, Snow Lake, had been running on the synthetic surface at Woodbine, and he ran here at this level last time, ran evenly to finish for Lewis Linder Jr. And his race at the route distance last two back was not that good, but seemed to take to the Parx surface. Luis Ocasio, I'm not this jock. He just seems very puzzling looking rides. Let's put it nicely. Puzzling looking rides, but has the number that fits and should be the second pace in here. And that opens at a bit of a price. And the other one I'm looking at here is number 1. Number 1 is steady. 2 second place finishes in a row here at Parx. You know it can get the distance, has run at the level. And number 1 opens at 8-1. So you got 2 longer ones in here that can not only win the race if Jetstream doesn't take to the distance, but you got an 8-1 shot here in number 1, Me So Lucky, who you know can get the distance. And that weak favorite, number 5. So my contenders here for the maybe your exacta plays or your multi-race plays, I believe your winners are going to come out of, at least the winner in the multis, 136. 136. Those are the selections there. Exacta box. I mean, probably get it done there with that. Okay, so that's race 3, 136. In race number 3, the favorite is going to be very challenging to beat. Number 3, race number 3, Kenner. Has some early speed. He's in this race here. Race 4, 7 furlongs, so he's cutting back in distance a bit. He's grabbed the lead in his last 2 here at Parx at a mile. Nice, solid number. But there are 2 others in here that have the potential to beat him or at least complete the exacta, because going down to the second choice, number 8, Achilles Heel, Chad Summers' entry, is been running at a mile, and there are 2 others that are definitely faster than this one, and it ran at the 16K level. The 2 that can beat it, very consistent, and they both have early speed. Number 5's in good form right now, running at the optional claim at this level, and is stretching out a bit. And has done well on both a wet and dry track, in good form now. And Professor Cool opening up number 5 at odds of of 5-1. And Achilles heel, the vulnerable second choice, opens at 7-2. And this doesn't look like a bonanza hit here, but at least you get the second choice out of the money. And the other one that looks good that has some early speed is number 7, Carbonite, going for Flores Coba. Okay, gets Miguel Sanchez, top jock up. One of the top jocks here opens at 9-2. So you got a 3-1, a 5-1, and a 9-2 in this race. Let me just talk a little bit more about Carbonate for a second. Professor Cool, yeah. Miguel Sanchez, he's 21% going back over 700 races. And with the jockey, with the trainer, Flores Coba, Felix, they're 23% together in the money, 65%, and comes off a race that is flat at 6 furlongs. A repeat of that race can beat the favorite 3. I mean, the 3, he likes it a little longer. We'll have to see what happens here. If maybe he gets beat to the punch early by either the 5 or the 7, which he might. How does that affect the favorite? So I think we got a good shot here, not only to complete the exacta, but advance in the multi-race plays with 3, 5, and 7 in race number 4. And 3 opens 3-1, 5 at 5-1, and 7 9-2. That's race number 4. Now, in race 5, we have a 5.5 furlong sprint, and there's one that's really flying off the page at me in this race. It's number 8. Cup of Life is opening up at 15-1 and had back races fast enough to take this, even the last race to get on the board at a big price. He gets plenty of pace to finish into here, and he's circling towards a good one. I'm not sure why this one is opening up at 15-1. I mean, he has the best buyer figure of anyone in here. Gets Miguel Sanchez, 21% jock. I don't know if we're going to get it, but I got to talk about number 8. 15-1 is a big player in here. In race number 5. Now, the other one I'm going to talk about is number 4. Now, this one has some good early speed. I think that, and it seems to be on the improve after having a bit of a layoff. It seemed to be slumping between July and September, but this one has heated up this time of year. The last couple of years starts to get quick. And it goes for Carlos Soto. This is a 7.5K race. He is moving up in class, but Soto, get this, when he moves up in class, he's moving up from 5 to 7.5K. He is 15% winners out of 61 tries with a 2.56 ROI. Teams with Silvestri Gonzalez, they're 15% together. And this has some races around this time of year and even as late as June of this year that could smoke this group. And number 5, Mazel 18, for the early speed, figure part of the pace. Maybe if he doesn't win, he can win, but grab a piece of that exacta. Number 4 does open at 5-1. And the other one, Astonishing Annabelle. You got Michael Pino. You get Ruben Silvera. Yeah, I get it. He's the second choice. He's the second choice, and the track should have some moisture on it from the weekend, and this one runs well on a wet track. Number 2 is Astonishing Angel. Opens 3-1 as the second choice. Astonishing Annabelle, and stays at this level, finished 4th last time. Had been running slower. I really think that the other 2 can get it done, either the 4 or the 8. You know, they look better than this one technically, even though it's 3-1. What would I do with this race? Maybe I'd concentrate. I think I'd cover it both multis and otherwise. Did run okay last race. It jumped forward and finished 4th, but only 2 and change back for Pino. Pino here at always dangerous at Parx, 22% in over 2,300 races. Teams with Ruben Silvera, they're 21% together in 400 or so races. And I will give it a pass because last race was the first time it ran at Parx. It had been running. At Laurel, Monmouth, Tampa Bay, Gulfstream. So it seemed to take to the Parx track. So we'll go there, and I will play against the favorite number 10 here. He really took a step back last race. It's invading for Ed Coletti Jr. from Woodbine. Had been running on the synthetic all-weather track. It had been running on turf, no dirt experience, and synthetic to dirt. Very small sample size for Coletti Jr. with that move. 17%, but that's only out of 12 tries. I think we're going to go again. The thing is, it has a little early speed. Keep an eye on it. If you want to spread 4 deep, add the 10. But I think the 2 is okay, but 4 and 8 at prices, especially 8, 15 to 1. My main picks here are 2, 4, 8 for the exotics and multi-race plays, 4 and 8 longer. And if you have to spread or you insist on spreading, I'd add the 10. But 2, 4, 8, they're my main contenders here, race number 5 at Parx. I do want to make note of something. Some scratches are coming in right now, and so far they haven't really affected us so much, except in race 2, number 5. My main plays there were 4, 5, 6, and 1. 5 looked pretty strong. 5 is scratched, so my exotic contenders for race 2, and I did look at how it affected the race, a 1, 4, and 6 for race 2. And we're moving on to race number 6 now. I just want to check some of the others, make sure the other scratches didn't make a difference. Now, I will say I had number 8 here, Healy's Hope, at 5 to 1 in the 6th as a big player in this race at 5 to 1. And he is scratched in this race. And this is race number 6. And I will get to this right now. In race number 6, this race is at 7. It's a muddy track. It's a wet track today. We've been taking that into account because of the weekend storms on the northern East Coast. But the other ones I came up with, I think Bullet Butch it's gonna be hard to get past the chalks in this race. And the ones I'm going to use here in this race is more for multi-race plays. What I like about this, Dr. Doom, I see is weak in this field. And bring it down a notch. I just want to double check something large. Now, there is one in here who's a player at a price, should really benefit from the wet track. And it's not one I originally listed, and it's getting spotted weight is number 6, Por Supuesto. Stephen Krebs entry. He's 1 for 2 with the jock, Martina Rojas. Martina, 9% winning percentage, at Parx, 15%. Overall, covering over almost 630 races. But this one not only has the numbers, very consistent for the most part, due to snap forward for a good one, and the wet track should help. This one has run its best races on wet tracks. And Por Supuesto, number 6, opens at 12 to 1. So it's a perfect replacement for the 8 who was scratched. The 8 was 5 to 1. And the others in here, number 5, Bullet Butch. Nice numbers. Lupe Guerrero, high percentage trainer. Jockey Ruiz. It really is no cinch to win this race. 3 to 1, opening 3 to 1. I see it as a vulnerable favorite, not only to 6, who opens at 12 to 1. 3, large, opens at 9 to 2. And this one has races that can flat out win against Bullet Butch. Sure. Its last two races weren't that good. This is another one. I mean, this one has the best wet track races of all in here. Large. You go back to the races that ran in September on sloppy tracks. Oh, my God. I mean, I think 3 is going to end up being favored. So my picks here, exotic contenders in race number 6, 4 to go. And now we're including the scratches as well. So moving forward, race 6, 3, 5, and 6. I'll tell you what, the favorite is really up against it between the 3 and the 6, especially the 3 this race. But I'd use them all. See what kind of prices we get in race number 6. That should be interesting. Now, in race number 7, it's a very interesting race because the opening favorite, number 1, what is its name? Opens 5 to 2. Colonel Vargo opens 5 to 2 and is a very vulnerable favorite. You got to love this. Some of you might wondering, where's my coffee? What's up with that? This morning I'm drinking a Bigelow green tea flavored with mint. Tremendous tea, a lot of antioxidants, a lot of health benefits. And it's on sale this week. Usually goes $3.99 for a box of 20, and it's on sale for $2.50 at Shop and Stop. And they come sealed in the foil packs, so they stay fresh. Just tremendous tea. So we'll get to race 7, but first, Bigelow green tea flavored with mint. Now that's a damn good cup of tea. Just perfect. Okay, race number 7. Race number 7, you may want to scroll this back to the beginning if you're seeing this pre-recorded show and get my picks for the opening races. In race number 7, I mean, this one is as close to a single. It's fast as hell on a wet track, and it's going to be, we got a very wet track there today. Number 7, Mazrur. Just the fastest horse, probably the fastest early here. And it's as close to a single as I've seen on this card. But who knows? There is a stampede of horses. And the other two I see here causes trouble, very dangerous, early speed, breaking inside, second choice at 3 to 1. I can't believe 3 opens 3 to 1 and 7 opens 7 to 2. It's crazy. I mean, 7, if you wanted to key something, if you wanted to play an exacta, I mean, that's the one you'd have to use. But if you want to box it, but these are the ones to use in multis. And 7, definitely the best. 3, second best. Another one with a lot of early speed. Might mix it up with 7 on the front end. Causes trouble. And then you got, that's 3 to 1. That's the second choice. And one also with a shot to win here is number 4. If Masur doesn't bring his A game. Johnny Ritt opens 6 to 1. Very nice numbers. Very fast early as well. So race, and number 5 is scratched. And the 3 horses this race to use, 3, race 7, 3, 4, and 7. Race number 8. Race number 8, I got 3 standouts. Well, two that stands out more than the other. The other one is a nice horse too, but we get some prices out of this one here. It's 6 furlongs, a muddy track here. Race number 8. 7 is a deserving favorite. Cold Feet. You go to its races. He runs its best. It's pretty much all over, and has the big Brisnet numbers. And but if you consider ground loss and everything in here, there are 2 others that are faster than Kathleen DeMassi's number 3 winning time at 7 to 2. 7 looks like the standout, but number 4. Okay, so number 7 is a must-use. Cold Feet here. And the other 2 I like are the Ness entries that open. Number 4, Struger, 9 to 2, and number 5, Dark Timber, opens 5 to 1. And you have Pennington on the 4, and Rivera Jr. is on the 5. And I just want to look at the 4 and 5. Yes, 7 is the standout here. Has 2 wins and 2 seconds in its last 4. Cathal Lynch, 41% winning percentage with the jockey, Angel Rodriguez. So that's number 7. And 4 has multiple races here at Parx that can win it, including 1 by 2 last out at the claiming level, 15K, and really excelled on a wet track here. And that opens at a price of 9-2. Stuger, Pennington and Ness together, Frankie Pennington together, they're 28% in over 740 races. And the 5, Dark Timber, the other Ness, I prefer more so underneath. If the other 2 don't bring their A game, maybe 5, Luis Rivera Jr. But I think 4, 5, and 7, 7 and 4 are the standouts. Maybe 5 a little more underneath. If they're playing games, the 5 will sneak in. But race 8, my main contenders for exotics, yeah, I prefer the 5 underneath. But either 7 or 4 are my top choices in race 4 or 7, or especially 7 are my top choices in race 8. And it followed by the 5 underneath to complete the exotics and rolling plays in race number 8. Race 9, the 2 entries that look best are the Ness entries. Number 2 is going to be a mile 70 on the muddy track here. Number 2 is going to be very hard to beat. Ness and Silvera, Abadale. I'm not going to try and make something happen when it's not there. Every pick I've given you for all these races so far through race 9 now and race 10 have legitimate shots to get it done, big shots to get done in the rolling exotics. And they're also in the exactas at the very least. 2 is going to be very tough to beat. Silvera and Ness by the numbers, proven at the distance. Abadale opens at 5-2. The one that catches my eye here is number 8, Comedy Act, Ness's second one. Now, this one's going to have to stretch out, but it has the numbers to win if it can stretch out. And let me just check something here real quick. I just want to look back to the pace. Race 9. Yeah, Comedy Act should be winging it on the front end. Yeah. Has the early speed edge, very quick early. And that one opens at 6-1. Does it steal it? I don't know, maybe. Does like to be near the front. And, for example, it's grabbed the lead at the first call, 4 out of the last 5. And I just want to... And the other one I like a bit is number 7, Girl from Outer Space. She's circling towards a good one. Okay, just looking at Comedy Act. Yeah, Girl from Outer Space. So Comedy Act is number 8. The favorite looks good. And 8, both 2 and 8 are from Ness. Number 7, Girl from Outer Space. Comedy Act opens 6-1. Girl from Outer Space is opens at 9-2. Now, what I like about this one is Linda Loves Gold, not as fast as the other 3, and that opens as the second choice. And maybe it takes money because of the name. I don't know why they made this the second choice, Linda Loves Gold. But the ones I like best to complete the exacta or Comedy Act 6-1, the one I actually like second best is number 8. It opens at 6-1, and both can get Pennington. So both 2 and 8 from Ness, Abadale, 5-2, number 8, Comedy Act, 6-1. The other one I think I like better underneath, but not impossible for the win, is number 7, Girl from Outer Space. Great name. Okay, so race number 9, ones I like for exotics and multi-race plays, 2, 7, and 8. Now in race 10 here, we end the day at Parx with a 5.5 furlong sprint. And the one I like best is the 3. You throw out the last race. It's races prior to that, all fast enough to win here. And that name of that horse, number 3, is Diesel. Opens at 2-1 for the high percentage Michael Pino. with Ruben Silvera up. That one looks like the one to beat here at 10-1. What I like about this race is the second choice 7-2 doesn't look quick enough. It's going to take money because it has Paco Lopez up. Shackle Cat open 7-2, and of course some people are going to play it because it's a cat horse, right? Just like some people like cat horses, kitten horses, gray horses, birthdays. But yeah, the cat horses always take money. Kitten horses too, gray horses too. And 7 doesn't look good. 3 Diesel looks very solid. And one I like that's a longer shot here is number 6, Shackle Cat. No, Rack Gin. But from Stephen Krebs, number 6, Rack Gin. Let me talk about that. Opens 10-1. This is one that runs very well. It didn't have a good race last race, but it was stretched out on a wet track. Was off the pace inside going 7 furlongs. But if you go back to its races prior to its last race, it was so going second off the layoff here for Stephen Krebs. Has races last year from late August right through late October that were very strong. You go back the prior year, forget about it. I mean, numbers that would destroy these. And last race, I think they were asking too much of it at 7, but this one has races that can win, including a very fine effort in late September on a wet track that fits this race like a glove. This is a claiming 5. It's coming out of a starter 5K and 7.5Ks. So they're dropping it for this race. And this one definitely fits number 6, Rack Gin. And the other one I'm looking at that has a nice running pattern, he's due for a good one today, ran well. Okay, at 7 furlongs for Robert Moscow. Our Good Time Charlie. And it seems to have every few races, it runs a really big one. And when I say a few, I mean literally 3. And it runs a big one, then it has 3 kind of off races, runs the big one, has 3 kind of off races, and they weren't really that badly off. And so today it's due for a big one that would make it a player in here for Robert Moscow. Our Good Time Charlie. Race 10, that's number 9. So my picks here, this one I think is wide open. Any 3 of these can win. And I believe one of them is going to win. And maybe even Rack Gin, that's 6 at 10-1. So race number 10, my main contenders here for exotic play and multi-race plays, 3, 6, and 10. And just for the record, number 4 and number 13 are scratched in this 10th race. All right, so there you have it. Those are my selections here for Parx, Parx exotic, Parx horse racing picks, Parx racing picks for exotic and multi-race plays. I hope good luck, everybody. I didn't want to put these picks to waste because I'm not going live at Parx today, but these were too good to let slide. So I wanted to give you some little bit of analysis and give you the horses to consider for the races today. It looks like an opportunity to make some money because a lot of these they're not chalks and they're fast enough to get the job done. So have a great Monday, everybody. Start to the week. Thanks for watching. Your horse racing friends, if they don't know about this show, let them know about it. If they like horse racing, I think they'll enjoy it. We have a great community here who shares their knowledge, their picks before the race, right? They don't say they won after the race. Give out our selections before the race and analysis and talk about it. It's just a fun experience and a winning experience at the same time. So thanks for watching. Good luck today at Parx. And I think there's only one other track running, Mahoning today. So let's win big today. And remember, may the horse always be with you.